Hey there riders, let's have a more in-depth look at the ergonomics of Yamaha's Tricity 300. So jumping on board, the first thing that you'll hopefully notice is that, of course, easy reach to the ground being a scooter. Now, the seat height is just under 800 mils, and as long as you're forward on the scooter, you will find that quite an easy reach to the ground. If you're a similar height or inseam length to me, I'm 180 centimeters, I'm a 32-inch inseam, and getting 2 feet down flat is possible. Getting 1 foot down flat is very, very easy. And then of course, the further back you move in the seat, the wider it gets. So right up the back, I can still get 2 feet flat, just. However, realistically speaking, this being a scooter, you're normally gonna have 1 foot down very securely. And of course, the 2 wheels on the Tricity 300 adds to the stability factor of this scooter. It has a side stand, it's got a center stand, but probably one of the big features that you're going to notice is this front locking system. So I'm just turning the scooter on now. And what we've got here is we've actually got it locked in the upright seating position. You probably won't be able to see, but I've now got both feet up in the footwells. There's nothing holding this scooter up except for the fact that it's got that front system locked. Now, I can actually turn the scooter on and use a little bit of throttle and it'll automatically deactivate, or I can hit the flasher on the left switch block. It will beep at me to warn me, and now the scooter will lean very, very easily. Now obviously if you're riding it, that's how you're gonna lean through a corner. However, when you're sitting on it like this and you just want the scooter to sit upright, it's just a matter of looking, making sure that basically the key symbol on the dash is flashing, and you lock it and you're good to go. There is a handbrake there as well because this scooter will very easily roll away. For some reason it just seems to be much more roll happy than a lot of the other scooters that I'm used to, but doesn't matter. It's got a parking brake. Very important to put that on when you walk away from the scooter. If you leave it like this rather than on the center or side stand, less of an issue there. And as you can see, you know, I've got both feet up in the air, no issues at all. There's a pretty generous seating position as far as the lower foot peg or lower floorboard position, but I do need to move back a little bit when I get my feet up because obviously I've got somewhat longer legs and I do like to stretch out. That does mean as well that when I'm sitting in that back position for cruising, I've got a lot more stretch in my arms. They're not stretched, but they are, you know, full length, and that is nice and comfortable on the freeway and at speed, and it does feel much nicer and sportier with your feet up, moved back in the seat. Gets your weight a little bit further back on the scooter as well, and really does make a difference. Obviously, this kind of position, you've got your arms a little bit more bent depending on how long they are. You're sitting at the front of the seat, but getting a foot down is much, much easier. And this was one of those machines where I actually felt like I could put any foot down. Obviously, unlike on a motorcycle, you're not covering a brake with either of your feet, so you can certainly do that. Very, very nice and accessible. Non-adjustable screen, non-adjustable levers, so hopefully those work for you. Generally speaking, I think really it's been designed as a one-size-fits-all motorcycle or scooter, and you've got some preload adjustability on the rear. As I mentioned in my full review, the suspension on this is quite a bit harsher than on the XMax 300. On the XMax 300, one of the things I really liked was that the suspension was very plush. Not to say that, you know, there was a lot of dive in the forks or that it was too soft, but it was just a nice plush, comfortable ride. On this, obviously that front end weighs a lot, and it does mean that 100 mils of travel on those front forks, and the fact that there's dual forks, there's 4 forks on the front of this motorcycle or this scooter, does mean that, you know, it takes a fair bit more to really give it a super controlled ride like you get on the XMax 300. So it doesn't have quite that same premium feel on the suspension. However, the handling and the stability is really, really good because you've got 2 wheels at the front which help keep the scooter upright. As far as other ergonomics, grab rail for your pillion, nice pillion seat as well. It is quite a wide scooter. It's 815 mils, so it's a, you know, like 40 or 45 mils wider than the XMax 300 as comparison, because this is essentially just an XMax with the different front wheel setup. There's no glove box, but there is a power outlet on the front. It's got keyless ignition, and that works really well. I've just got the key in my jacket pocket, and it's just been so easy. And that also gets you in under the seat and also gets you into the fuel compartment, which is separate. This fuel isn't under the seat, so you don't have to open that to get in there, which is something I like to see. You can turn the traction control off, and generally speaking, it's just a very accessible machine. As I said in my full review, I think the big benefit of a scooter like this with the 2 front wheel setup is that if you've got, you know, a bad back, or you're worried about the weight of a scooter, or even if you're riding in really slippery conditions in a city somewhere and you feel like the extra stability would be worth it, then I think this could make a lot of sense for you. Obviously, it's more expensive than the XMax 300, which is kind of just the regular scooter version, but there are some real benefits of that 3-wheeler system, that multi-wheel leaning system from Yamaha, and certainly being able to lock it and just keep the scooter upright like I'm doing now. I don't have a side stand down. This is the scooter maintaining its own balance, because basically it just locks that front system, which is what balances the 2 front wheels and allows you to lean into a corner, really like any normal scooter or motorcycle. I guess the one thing I would say is that jumping off, you want to be careful, because it does sway a little bit. It's pretty secure. The more time I spend with the Tricity 300, kind of the more I come to trust that system. When I first basically jumped on it and went for a ride, I was kind of like, oh, I don't know that I'd put that steering lock on at a set of lights when I've got to wait a little while and get both my feet up, and I don't know if I'd leave it parked in my garage with that on. But 2 days later, I gotta say, after doing plenty of miles on this, I'm very, very happy with that system. It works really well. It is a wide scooter across the back, so getting a leg across is, you know, it's a fair throw of the leg, and putting your leg through that front section there, which is, you know, like not a footwell, not a full step through, you're probably going to scratch your plastic, so that's something to keep in mind. I've been doing a little bit of both depending on how I've been getting on the bike, and definitely over the back of the scooter is the way to go. So if you've got any questions about the ergonomics of the Tricity 300, just ask down below in the comments. I'll do my best to answer your questions. As always, thanks for watching, really appreciate it. Hit that notification bell if you've enjoyed the video, and I'll be back soon.